going on? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for clicking on this video. So this one is a little bit different than the usual that you see from this page, but it is extremely important and I've went through a lot of changes in my life very recently. So I thought it would be good to share, be a bit more transparent and vulnerable about these different topics. So for example, dealing with real life changes, struggles, stress, along with being a trader. It happens to all of us, right? Life changes quickly. I was just recently blessed with my son, Josiah, and that's a huge shift when it comes to what I was used to before with trading, right? Before, I could make sure that I went to bed at a decent time, wake up before the New York Open, had plenty of energy, had my routine, could meditate, could really get into that flow state. With this huge change, my sleeping pattern is all over the place, right? And with that sleeping pattern being so different, you can definitely tell your mental acuity, your mental edge isn't as strong as it used to be. It's very important for me now to keep a gauge on that before I even participate with anything to do with the markets. So I have to truly make sure that I got enough sleep. I was able to balance myself enough that day in order to be able to tackle these markets. Because one of the biggest tricks I feel like with any career path, but especially trading, we have overconfidence, right? We have this over-wavering confidence saying we could definitely win the next trade. We can end the day in profits. And this can go on forever, right? We can end the week in profits and it goes on. But we don't really take into account those external factors that could be affecting our overall trading for that day subconsciously. And the reason for this is because in an individual basis, it does not matter about skill. It doesn't matter about any external factor. If I just click a button and close my eyes, there's only two ways my position can go: in profit or in loss. That's it. So if I close my eyes, click a button, and it moved in my favor, my brain now thinks no matter what I'm actually experiencing internally, as far as stress, environment changes, lifestyle changes, etc., that I am still able to come out a winner in this next trade or for that trading period. And while we just proved that it is true, technically we could still come out as a winner, we're not putting the odds in our favor. We're making it so much harder to be a winner, but making it almost impossible to be a consistent winner. Once you start diving a bit deeper into psychology and you start reading the works of, some of the greats like Freud, etc., you start to understand the different, I'll say, categories of the awareness scale, right? So we have just the unconscious, and then we have unconscious awareness, which is kind of like when you are aware that something could be different, but you choose not to change it, right? And then we also have the awareness stage where you're fully aware of it and you are acting up on that awareness. And honestly, I'm probably butchering this because it's just from my memory and I haven't read it in quite some time. But what I'm trying to get at with this is that with trading, we a lot of times have unconscious awareness of the things that are actually affecting our trading. So instead of us proactively making sure that we don't put ourselves at risk in the market during these time periods where we're overly stressed, overly tired, we end up almost self-sabotaging ourselves. And this is the tough thing with trading, because at times it can be hard to tell the difference between wanting to consistently show up to the markets as more so of like the discipline side, and then also being addicted to the, let's say, excitement or the potential for an outcome to come true. And it's very important for us to reflect and figure out which one it is, because if it is the latter, then that is going to definitely lead us down a path where all of these minor things in our life that changes, all of the stresses, etc., are going to affect us big time. For me, August and September were like roller coaster months because a lot of great things happened. There are also a lot of things that caught me off guard as well that kind of whipsawed me. So I found out somebody close to me in my immediate family actually was diagnosed with cancer during this time period. And this was also another situation that, put another load on my shoulders where it added to the overall stress. And I knew that as this stress was building up, at the moment, you may show your stress in different ways. You may try to hide it. You may get frustrated. You may try to, cry it out, whatever it is. But as this stress builds on, what ends up happening is that you cannot focus, right? You think you can focus. You try to distract yourself by maybe trading or doing other things, but the reality is you have to process all of these emotions and it takes time. And the thing is, if I just found this news out, let's say yesterday or even the same week, and I'm still trying to trade as if everything is normal, it's not really going to work as well as you think it would. Because naturally, that kind of news provides more so of a negative emotion, a sad emotion, a more so feeling of being down, right? Versus the emotion you need during trading, which would more so be, I'll say neutral. It would need to be not too happy, not too sad, just aligned, focus, clarity, etc. No distractions, present moment flow. And if you're not in that state, then you're not in your best state for trading. And that's just simply that. So we can try to trick ourselves as much as we want to and tell ourselves that, we're not actually affected by the things we're experiencing and going through in other areas of our life. But in reality, we are. And I truly urge you guys to take a look at the pattern of what you're experiencing in your life, because you could see that when you go through these kind of time periods, your trading actually suffers so much more than you think. And if you were able to just remove yourself from the markets during that time period, take a break, maybe use it for studying or, getting other areas of your life in order, you could see so much more profit in that year, because that's what this is all about. It's about the bottom line. I don't care about passing a singular platform challenge. I don't care about making $100, $1,000 today. It's the sustainability of what we're doing. And this leads me into the last stress that I wanted to talk to you guys about as well, which is the financial stress, right? Whether it's just you have to take care of, maybe you live with relatives, or maybe you live by yourself, but it's still just you, whether you have a spouse, whether you have a full family, the financial responsibility and stressors of it can definitely affect your trading. You definitely have to get yourself into a mind state where you're not affected so much about thinking about it all the time. So you always have to find a way before you start your trading period to enter that flow state. Because if you don't, your fear is going to become your reality. And what I mean by that is we are attracted to what we fear. If I fear not having enough money, if I fear, let's say, something bad happening in the markets and now I have to start my prop firm challenge all over, well, you're going to do the things that lead to that outcome. Because what happens is the same thing as when we walk down the street and we're thinking about a certain car, we start to see that car. We start to think about a certain color car. We start to see that certain color car. It's the way our brain works. And there's an actual word for this. I'll put it on the screen once I find it. But that's how our brain works. We have all the possibilities around us all the time, but our brain is going to reach out and grasp for the ones that are most like our thoughts. And once again, if our thoughts are more aligned on the negative versus where we're more neutral, where we're not really holding on to those thoughts, that puts us in a mind state where we can simply flow, right? Because we're not in fear. We're more so in a state of action or doing. And like I always say with prop firm challenges, especially, make sure that you're purchasing an amount that you could at least purchase 10 times. And I'm not saying purchase them all at the same time, but in your head, be ready to purchase 10 accounts. And sure, we can say that, well, if you fail 10 challenges in a row, you're a bad trader. But the reality is you're not. At the end of the day, these prop firm challenges are set up in a certain way, and you have a certain strategy in the markets. So at the end of the day, the same way you take a particular trading edge in the market, you do that same thing with prop firm challenges. So out of 10, the odds are way better of you passing several of them versus only putting your money in to buy that one bigger challenge. And what happens when you put that stress on yourself that this one challenge has to be passed, it's going to put more fearful thoughts in your mind, which is going to cause you to have worse outcomes versus putting the odds in your favor, giving yourself multiple shots, which actually leads you to a path of success. And I mean, this is simple knowledge. But nonetheless, guys, the main points I wanted you to get from this video is that we have to become aware of what we're going through, right? Especially as traders, because our job is very emotional. I mean, you can't really think of anything else on this earth that causes so much emotional turmoil for most people than money. And that's just being honest. So think about seeing money fluctuating all day. Think about your job depending on you making money, right? So it's almost like a sales job on top of a commission job, on top of, another kind of job. We have all these layers of stress just in the job alone. And then attaching that to other stresses throughout your life, it can be very tough at times. So it's very important to take that deep breath, step back, do some meditation, do some journaling, go for for walks and just be present. Get away from the phones, get away from things about trading, clear your mind for a little bit so that you can come back fresher. If something did just recently pop up in your life, like a huge change, whether it's having kids or moving somewhere to a different town, starting a different project, anything that will throw you out of your normal cycle, your normal loop in a day where you have certain times that you do certain things and you no longer have your normal energy because it's been shifted somehow, you need to take a step back and rebalance yourself before you start trading again. I promise it will be for the better. Sometimes we get so trapped into trading each day that we forget we don't have to, right? The markets are going to be there tomorrow. They're going to be there in 6 months. They're going to be there in a year, 10 years, etc. And guess what? It's still going to be the same type of price action candles, still going to be the same setups, and your strategy is still going to work the exact same way. So removing yourself for a little bit does not actually hurt you in any way, shape, or form. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this content, please comment, like, and share, and I'll make sure I do more videos like this.